I think today I didn't really handle myself quite well, mentally, I would say. So basically that's it. I was just making unforced errors. Like, I don't know, I have to check the statistics. I think she won the match not because she played incredible, just because I made all of those mistakes from, like, if you look from the outside, kind of like from an easy balls.
Well, let's talk about Coco Gauff, but in this case, it's Coco Gauff adjacent. And I'm talking about Aryna Sabalenka. Stacey Allaster, the former powerhouse CEO of the WTA and the former US Open tournament director, has come out and made some comments about the direction of elite tennis. We know this week we learned that Coco Gauff, the commercial darling, continues to break records.
I mean, especially when you've been playing really great tennis during the whole week, you know, you've been playing against a lot of tough opponents, Olympic champion, Iga, you know, and then you go out and you play really bad. Like, I don't know, I think if Iga would win me another day, I think she would go out today and she would get the win.
But Sabalenka is also dominating the headlines. And I'm starting to wonder, is this whole thing rigged before it even gets started? Because, you know, I talk to you guys all the time on this channel about the agenda surrounding women's tennis. And if you check the right boxes, blah, 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 you get elevated. By the way, Sabalenka checks some of those boxes too. The established power player, the international champion. Just keep that in mind. And Allaster, as a key architect of the modern tour, controls the spotlight. Good grief. If the WTA keeps going down this road, I mean, do you want to grow the women's game into a global powerhouse or not? The WTA leadership, driven by Stacey Allaster's structural priorities, has closely monitored Aryna Sabalenka's rise and has been supportive of the environment that rewards her pure dominance. Now, we know Sabalenka is one of the pillars of the established order, right? We know that. Oh boy, here we go. Gauff, the superstar with the New Balance signature shoe line, CG1, and major deals with Rolex and Barilla, is being quietly sidelined in terms of institutional priority. Allaster was recently asked to comment on how to solve the grueling scheduling conflicts that often favor the tradition of the men's game over the disruption brought by Gauff's massive audience appeal.
Congratulations, Coco. When Aryna sat here, she said that she thinks if Iga had won her, she wins the thing today because of how the match turned up. Do you think the way you play today, you beat anyone? It doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net?
She said if I play Iga in the final.
She said that if we go, she didn't mention exactly winning you, but she said if Iga won me, she would win the thing.
I mean, I don't agree with that. I'm here sitting here, and last time I played, no, like to Iga or anything, but I played her and I won in straight sets. So, yeah, I don't think that's a fair thing to say.
Here's the quote that raises all the red flags. When questioned about the late-night scheduling at the US Open, which negatively affects player recovery, and if she would change the men's matches to best-of-3 sets to free up space. We are not changing men's matches to best-of-3. That's not on the table. This quote is the smoking gun. When it comes to reforming the fundamental structure that benefits the status quo, which in turn rewards the high-ranking power players like Sabalenka, the agenda championed by Allaster is clear. The old model is not up for negotiation. This is the institutional inertia protecting the established elite. Sabalenka will be just fine according to this philosophy.
Because anything can really happen, and yeah, honestly, I mean, the way Aryna was playing the last few weeks, she was the favorite to win. So I think she was the best person that I could have played in the final. Her being #1 in the world, she was the best person to play. So I think I got the hardest matchup just if you go off stats alone. Obviously, Iga being a champion here.
Even without being the obvious successor to Serena Williams in terms of cultural appeal, the obvious replacement for Serena, the player with the cultural impact and media draw, would be who? Coco Gauff. But the establishment, speaking through figures like Allaster, often pushes the narrative that Gauff might be too young or not ready for the full coronation. The message is clear: the system favors stability and pure performance, Sabalenka, over the complex, disruptive force of cultural impact, Gauff. This isn't about talent, it's about the fear of disruption. Here is the heart of the problem. Allaster, who embodies the institutional success of the WTA, securing equal prize money, massive TV contracts.
I mean, she's probably emotional about it, so I'm not gonna take it with too much anything. And I do hope people give her a little bit of
unintentionally created an architecture that benefits the European power game and the rigid demands of the broadcasters. This same architecture is inevitably sidelining the player who represents the future revolution, Coco Gauff. This structure, designed for growth, now prevents true change, and the plot thickens even more. Allaster's influence is deeply rooted in the USTA, and the Player Council, which holds significant sway over scheduling and tour direction, is often composed of players who benefit from the current system, a system that rewards consistent ranking over explosive market growth. This creates an incestuous loop of self-preservation.
You talk about the power of social media to help tell your story, but do you think at the end of the day you're still a little bit misunderstood for who you are?
No, I think nowadays people know me as a player and as a person. Like, I feel like people know that, okay, of course she's aggressive, she's passionate, she's focused, and she's fighting for her dream, but also, of course, she's fun and she's nice, she's chill, and she's a completely different person. So I think now people knows me. Maybe like that little situation after French Open, some people don't really understand the intensity of everything, and that you lose the final of the biggest tournament, and then you go to the media straight away, and you're so like frustrated, so like pissed on yourself, and you're just trying to figure what just happened, and you don't think clean, and then you make this comment, and people go like, like they forget completely about like who you are like the rest of the time.
This feels like a major political move, orchestrated by those who have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo. I'm going to be honest with you, and I always will.
See someone fail and like take it as the main thing, So after that, I also had to sit back and reflect on everything and apologize and make sure that people understand my point, that it was just, I was over emotional, I was completely wrong. So after that also took me a little while to explain myself a little bit better, but now I think people understand me even better, and also it was a tough lesson, but it helped me a lot in so many different ways. And right now I don't feel like people still misunderstand me. I feel like now they know me even better.
This feels like a screwing coming down the pipeline for the ultimate lifestyle superstar, Coco Gauff. While Coco Gauff was busy being named Time's Woman of the Year, talking about changing the world with her racket, and signing legacy deals with Rolex, Sabalenka was busy being the brute power that the WTA structure, built under Allaster's guidance, subconsciously favors. The market validates Gauff, the institution validates Sabalenka. The successor to Serena in terms of market impact and activism is Gauff, but the established system is pushing Sabalenka into that role. The irony is staggering. The biggest advocate for women's tennis could be unintentionally undermining the game's greatest revolutionary. Let's look at how this manifests. Primetime scheduling, the visibility snub. Gauff, the biggest American draw, often gets suboptimal night slots at the Grand Slams because the men's best-of-5 format, which Allaster defended, dictates the entire schedule. This is a direct slap in the face to Gauff's immense market momentum. This constant relegation limits her global brand exposure precisely when it matters most, restricting her commercial ascendancy. The Sabalenka performance factor, the narrative control. Sabalenka's high-intensity, high-power game, though often criticized for its emotional nature, guarantees dramatic viewership and fits the established product narrative that the WTA has successfully sold for decades. Gauff, with her composed, intellectual game and complex social messaging, is harder for the traditional establishment to package and sell quickly. The WTA knows how to sell powerful screams. They are still learning how to monetize composed purpose. The political snub, the agenda's evidence. Gauff is consistently passed over for major recognition, like being the undisputed year-end world #1 or favorable player council roles, despite her superior commercial value, because the WTA establishment, Allaster's system, prioritizes the stable growth infrastructure over the explosive and risky growth of a single personality like Gauff. The institutional fear is simple. What if Gauff burns out? The safe bet is the consistent point scorer, regardless of their cultural footprint. This entire game is potentially laced. I told you guys, this is what happens when the status quo feels threatened by disruption. The system is eating its own future. The Gauff empire, built on authenticity, youth, and activism, is too disruptive for the comfort zone of the WTA establishment. Gauff's commercial power is undeniable. This market validation is being ignored in favor of the old guard's traditional metrics. They are treating a gold mine like a silver scrap heap. The WTA is terrified of fully letting go of the old guard. They want the Serena-level marketing, but they don't want the Serena-level disruption and cultural independence. They want the profit without the political price tag. And who does this snub ultimately benefit? The established stars who rely on the traditional system, like Sabalenka. Sabalenka's power game is the perfect contrast to Gauff's nuanced strategic defense. The establishment loves that clean, clear power narrative. They fear the complexity of Gauff's message. We need to look at the historical context here. The tennis establishment has always been wary of young, powerful American disruptors who are not afraid to speak out. Gauff is carrying the torch of Billie Jean King and Serena Williams, not just in skill, but in activism. This is exactly what the traditional, conservative elements of the WTA establishment fear. They fear a player who commands the conversation, not just the court. The only way to keep Gauff in check is to constantly raise the bar on performance metrics and minimize her cultural achievements in official channels. By praising Sabalenka's power and consistency excessively, the WTA is indirectly saying to Gauff, your sponsorships, your Time magazine honor, your activism, none of that matters until you beat the performance metric which we control. This is a deliberate psychological strategy to enforce structural obedience. This feels like a political move, orchestrated by those who have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo. The systematic under-recognition is the screwing over that Gauff is silently enduring. It's not just about a match loss, it's about the entire apparatus of the WTA being tilted against the player who is doing the most to grow their bottom line. This tilt represents millions in lost cultural revenue for the WTA itself. Gauff herself, with the maturity beyond her years, uses her platform not to whine, but to elevate the whole sport. She advocates for equal pay, more exposure, and better conditions. This is the mark of a true leader. And what does Sabalenka offer in response to this leadership? Subtle digs about game quality and a focus purely on her own impressive but insulated performance. This contrast is the entire story. The gap between them is not tennis, it is vision. The WTA needs to wake up. They cannot afford to sideline the one athlete who is driving unprecedented American viewership and cultural impact. If they continue to prioritize the established agenda over the future, they risk permanently alienating the next generation of fans. The next era of fans demands authenticity, and the WTA is serving them bureaucracy. I mean, seriously. They have the successor to Serena, the cultural icon, the commercial engine, and they are delaying her coronation. Why? Because the system is designed to protect itself. The agenda is protecting the past from the future. Wow. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time. Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time for the no-holds-barred truth on tennis.